this video, we're going to look at Tinkercad, and this time we're going to design something for our 3D printer. So from our Tinkercad screen here, I've already signed in. I'm going to click on Create a 3D Design. And I'm just going to go over a couple of, there it goes, just a couple of quick settings that I want to adjust for our specific 3D printers. And then we'll create a really fast design, and I'll show you how to export that design so that you can then send it to either your teacher or drag it onto a USB stick or send it to the printer. Okay, so this is going to be 3D printer sample. And the first thing I'm going to do, let me move my video out of the way. I'm going to go down here to settings in the bottom right hand corner, and I'm going to adjust a couple of things here. So first off, I'm going to leave this in millimeters, but again, you do have the option of changing this into inches if you prefer, and then that way you'll know that everything you're designing is going to be in inches if that is how you took your measurements earlier. And then here on our presets, I'm actually going to change this to Dremel 3D 40/45 because that's the type of printer I have. So they have a few printers set up in here that you can choose from. And why this is nice, I'm going to then close settings, is it's going to reset my work plane here to the shape of my 3D printer. So I'll know exactly if my design is staying on the print bed or if it's too large for our print bed. So now we're just going to create a quick shape to cut. Why don't we do some text here? I'm going to drag that over. Oops, undo. And just drag this over here. Okay. And then if I want to, again, or let's say, I'm going to delete that and do a different one here. Let's say I'm designing a casing for a project or something like that. So maybe I took some measurements here. I want a star that is about maybe 6 centimeters. Let me grab my ruler real quick here. So reminder, I'm working in millimeters. So let me zoom in. All right. So on my ruler here, this bottom section here are centimeters. These are my inches up here. I'm measuring everything in millimeters, which is those little tiny lines in between, right? So each of these is 1 millimeter, 10 millimeters is 1 centimeter, okay? So let's say I want a shape. I'm gonna put a couple LEDs in or something. So this is, we'll make our star 6 centimeters. So times 10, so that'll be 60 by 60. So if I just click on this corner, I can type in the measurements that I want to use. There we go. So that is 6 centimeters by 6 centimeters. And let me make sure, I want to make sure it's flat on the print bed. That looks pretty good. All right. And then let's say I'm trying to create a holder or casing for something. I'm also going to make this taller. We are 3D printing this. Maybe it's going to be like a little cup shape for some reason. So maybe I'll make this 4 centimeters tall, so 40 millimeters. Great. Okay. And then I'm going to cut a hole shape here. So I'm going to drag this over. This is a hole. And we're going to need to make this at least as tall as our star. Well, a little less, maybe. We did 40. So I'm going to make my hole. I can make it 40. It's not going to matter. I can drag it where I want it. Okay. And then I'm going to drag that to the center of my star here. And then right now, it's exactly the same height as my star. I don't want to cut a hole through all the way the bottom. So I'm checking the bottom here. I want it to be more like a cup, a holder for something. So I'm going to pull this up with that black triangle. And let's see that. You can see this little dashed line in here. That will show you, when you select your hole, about how low that cutout is going to go. I can actually make it go down a little lower. There we go. Because if I don't make my shape too thick, it won't take quite as long to 3D print. So I don't need a lot of space on the bottom of this cup or holder or whatever it is that I'm making. And right now, it's a little narrow, this cutout, so I'm going to make it a little wider. can make a bigger cutout here. And if I want to center it exactly, I can actually drag to select all the shapes. And then at the top here, there is an alignment tool. And I can do these middle dots here to align it in the center of my shape. Let's see. That does not look very centered. I'm going to try that again. I'm going to drag this here. And let's see if I can align that a little bit better. Okay, that looks better. Great. Now the last part is I need to group them to make sure that that hole is cut out of my shape. So I'm going to, again, select the two shapes together and then click this group button. And now you can see the cutout on that shape. So the last thing that I need to know is just how to export this for the 3D printer. So I'm going to come up here to export. And this top section says for 3D printers. And you're going to want to go ahead and export it as a .stl file. Okay, so I'll export that .stl. And then I can share that with whomever is going to send that file to the printer for me.